New Super Mario Bros. Revived the 2D style of the original Mario games, and looking through the files of this Nintendo DS classic, we can find loads of content that Nintendo decided to scrap before release, showing what this game could have been like. Left in the files is an early version of the World Select screen, with 8 icons for worlds arranged in a circle. Left and right will rotate the circle to let you select a world. This idea was later repurposed for the World Select screen from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Looking at these icons, we can see what Nintendo originally planned for these worlds to be. Here are some interesting ones. At this point in development, World 6 was going to be a machine-themed world, which, in this icon, is represented by a metallic ball. The final game's World 6 is themed around mountains. World 4 was an ancient-themed world with a volcano and would have possibly featured dinosaurs. In the final game, however, World 4 is a poisonous forest. A background and tile set for this early version of World 4 was also left in the files, showing what the volcano would have looked like. World 1's icon shows a much less colourful world, and this early screenshot shows what this would have looked like. The colours are less eye-catching, and the style of the game was clearly going to be a lot different to the game we actually got. Also in this screenshot, a Koopa can be seen that uses a 3D model. Normally, only main characters are 3D model to save on processing power, and Nintendo pre-rendered enemies. This Koopa model managed to stay in the game's files, however. Other unused models include a wooden platform, a set of stairs, a red question switch, a red switch, a yellow star switch, a swing, and a treasure chest from Jolly Roger Bay, used in later games in the series. Another early version of the Koopa was left behind, but this time it's a pre-rendered one. It's in pieces, but when put together, it looks like this, with a slightly bigger head than the final version. Unlike the Koopa, the pointing hand is a 3D model in the final game, but has a sprite left in the files. Sprites for the numbers 0 to 9 were left over from early builds as well. A purple question block exists, but doesn't have any known uses. Early footage shows Mario Start and Luigi Start text, which was left in the files of the final game. It would have shown up at the beginning of a level, like in Super Mario World and Super Mario Bros. 3. Also, early on in the game's development, it used this logo. A low-resolution version has been left in the files of the final version. 2 large textures exist, with detailed backgrounds, and the numbers 0 and 1. They're both called staff roll, so they were probably placeholders for testing the animations where the images move off the screen. A placeholder icon saying preliminary can be found as well. A curved red line was left over, and is likely also another placeholder icon. Another icon that wasn't used is this yellow lightning bolt. It was actually used early on for a scrapped lightning bolt power-up. It was made for a race level and would turn the other player into their mini form. This is similar to what the lightning bolt does in the Mario Kart series. 3 screen transitions from Super Mario 64 DS with Wario, Yoshi and the Star exist. These characters may have been cut from this game, as Nintendo went to the effort of changing the file format to work with this game, meaning they can easily be modded in and work as intended. A very glitchy set of bricks can be modded into the game, and can be squashed by the player, launching them into the sky. We can see that this gameplay element was cut early on, as the brick texture is the same as the one that can be seen in early gameplay. This won't work properly when using the mini mushroom. An early rotating log was left in the files, and is also quite glitchy. A bigger version of the fire-spitting piranha plants exists, which actually works perfectly and isn't glitchy. Another unused object still with functionality is this jungle background that was sometimes seen in early screenshots. The game actually thinks it's water, so Mario is able to swim in it. Chain chomp logs can be modified to have more than one chain chomp, but if there's more than one chain chomp head, the game will run a function that intentionally crashes the game. Changing some RAM values does allow this to work properly though. The rotating mushrooms seen in some levels have an unused mode which allows them to use this green mushroom texture instead of this red one that does get used. In game, they look like this. 2 tile sets and backgrounds for underground stages have been left in the files. There's this red rocky one which is paired with a golden tile set, and this underground cave one with stalagmites, and this tile set, which is very similar to the last one but with some different sprites and a different palette. Another tile set exists that goes unused. There are some orange bricks and a turquoise pattern with dark blue lines. It also has 4 coloured blocks, with the same colours as the buttons on a European Super Nintendo controller or a Super Famicom controller. This tile set is paired with 5 backgrounds that continue this retro theme. One features Mario climbing up a vine in a pink sky filled with clouds. Another shows different sprites of Mario and Luigi running, jumping, and standing still on a green background. This one has a green checkered background with Mario and Luigi swimming. The fourth background shows a Spiny, Lakitu, and 2 Marios. The final one contains Mario running and launching a fireball towards Bowser. These were probably going to be used for the backgrounds of some scrapped bonus challenge levels. Some animated tiles exist for an erupting volcano that probably would have fit in the early version of World 4. There are a bunch more unused tiles in the game as well. In the Ghost House theme, there's a dark doorway with a light on it. It works in game but doesn't look quite right. There's a Boo statue in with this theme as well, and the stand would be mirrored to lower the file size. Another boss door is unused in the Tower tile set. In the Sky theme, there is a cloud platform that doesn't get used in the final game. In the Castle tile set, there's a very large pillar that Mario can walk past, and an early ice block with different graphics to the final version, but it just acts like a normal block. The World 8 Castle has an early tile set that gets covered in crosses to show that it shouldn't be used. An early screenshot shows that a Mega Goomba would have been found in a room comprised of the early tiles. The World 8 Castle also has some grey bricks that were cut. A similar set of grey bricks can be found in the Boss Room tile set. These tiles do technically get used, but are completely covered up and can't be seen in normal gameplay. There's a non-animated water tile that exists, but Mario gets rendered behind these water tiles. Similarly, there's a lava tile, which does have animations. It has been seen during early gameplay. Early in the game's development, you'd have to push Mega Mushrooms out of the question block with multiple hits. 4 sound effects were left over from this cut gameplay element. There's an unused ambient audio track that sounds like water dripping inside a cave. Here's what it sounds like. This may have been intended for PT Piranha's boss room. BGM_sample is a test version of the credits theme. It's shorter, has fewer instruments, and sounds like this. This was probably only just for testing purposes and never intended to be used. There's an early version of the Mario vs Luigi music track. It's slower and uses different instruments. It was originally used in the game's E3 2005 trailer, though that version was very slightly different. If you enjoyed the video, share it with someone who might be interested, and we've got loads more just like it. Click here to watch our Mario games playlist. Thanks for watching!